We recommend listening to the CW Pod with a glass of Steeple Ridge Bourbon. Grown, distilled, well-rested, and bottled in Erling, Iowa. Now from the Channel Seed Studios, this is the CW Pod, fueled by Steeple Ridge.
Welcome to this week's CW Pod here on Iowa Everywhere. We are in the Channel Seed Studios, and of course, we are presented by our friends at Steeple Ridge Bourbon. Didn't crack open a Steeple Ridge today with my guest, but man, that would be a fun podcast to do at some point down the road, potentially, because what's lifting me up today with our friends at Siouxland Scales, look at that. Just working in 3 sponsor reads in 1. That's how the professionals do it. We don't learn these things overnight because it takes reps, and nobody has more reps as a defensive coordinator than Jon Heacock, 10-year defensive coordinator at Iowa State. And before I bring him on, he's just a guy who, you know, I think at some point, probably in my mid-30s, 36, you start to have kids. You know, your just perspective changes. And for me, you start to like really appreciate leaders and people who have done things for a long time at a really successful rate, and you start paying more attention to them. You start to listen to their wisdom, and this guy got on campus with Matt Campbell in 2015, and he was just another coach, right? Like, I don't know, been through this a lot. Coaches come and they go. And then, you know, Coach Heacock and I had a couple of things in common. He used to be a big NASCAR fan. So we would talk NASCAR together, and we kind of grew with that. And then I always loved how Coach Heacock, when I would ask him something on or off the record, he would slow down and give you a real answer. And I always learned something from his answers. Even if I fully didn't understand it, it was from like a teacher's standpoint. And just throughout the years, I've just really, really come to appreciate this guy. In the last few years, he took a liking to my coaching with my daughters and just Little League softball. Not a big deal, but he loved that. And we would talk about it. And I would keep him updated on our games. And he became my buddy. And Coach recently retired, and obviously all the stuff happened. Matt Campbell's at Penn State now, but Coach is still in the area, and he was super gracious to give us a lot of his time today. Now, I'm going to walk you through the podcast. Again, it's what lifted me up today, just being able to spend this much time with Coach Heacock, and we thank our friends at Siouxland Scales for sponsoring the show. But we'll do a lot of geeky football stuff in the first half of this thing. The creation of Iowa State's defense, how it all went down. But then the back end of the podcast is more about leadership and lessons from Jon Heacock along the way. This is, Aiden and I were just discussing it. It's one of my favorite CW pods that we've done. I hope this is very different than me monologuing and ranting and raving. This is one where I hope everybody can, you should have your kids listen to this. You should have your husbands or wife listen to this, and just listen to what the man has to say, because you can learn a lot. Jon Heacock, I really appreciate him. Let's bring him on today's CW Pod. All right, well, Coach, welcome, man. I'm usually on your territory, and you're like up on the little pulpit looking down.
Right. Yeah, this is different.
Welcome to the.
I love this.
You're in my house now.
Yeah,
buddy.
This is a great setup. Yeah, I hope I don't screw it up.
You're gonna be good. How are you?
I'm good.
You look relaxed.
It's different, you know. It's been good. A lot of the things that are going on out there, I don't miss.
Yeah.
But I miss the friendships and some of those things, the daily interaction with players and the coaches and that kind of thing. But we're doing well. We're doing well.
Have you been sleeping till like 10 o'clock every day?
No, I grew up on a farm, so I never woke. You know, you never really had alarms. You just kind of woke up because that's when you had to be up.
When the sun came up?
Yeah, and I'm still the same. I was up this morning at 5-ish, and it is what it is.
Well, I'm so glad that you're still around. Mm-hmm. I mean, selfishly, you've always meant a lot to me.
Well, I appreciate it.
Start that off.
Likewise.
You're just a kind man, and I've always appreciated the way you go about your business.
Well, and I guess you try to treat people the way you'd like to be treated. And in this business, it's hard sometimes. We all have different. Everybody's got opinions on what should be right and wrong. And no, I've always tried to treat people right, and I appreciate people that treat me right. So that's been fun.
I've always wanted to ask you this, but now's about because you technically retired from Iowa State,
right?
Because we got the release and all that stuff.
Yep.
So every year for the last 5 years, there's always been Heacock's going to Notre Dame. There's been Heacock's going to Ohio State. All these rumors,
Right?
Or no, this is his final year, and I'm like, you know what? Coach will retire when he retires. I'm not going to bother him about it. Have you and you stayed for 10 years? Matt goes to Penn State.
Right.
Now we call it good. Were you close to leaving? Did you ever, what kept you here for so long? It's pretty rare in college football now.
Because of the coaches on the staff, the players, our success on defense, I've had multiple opportunities to leave. Really cool places. Probably the closest one that I entertained was Notre Dame because Marcus and I coached together, and I think of him as a true friend. Mm-hmm. He and I go back to, Kent State, went to Purdue, but I think the world of him as a human being. So that was probably the closest one. But I've been blessed because of our success to have opportunities. It's that part's been cool. That's the closest I was, to leaving, and probably because of the same thing. He wanted an older guy that had been around a little bit. Give him some guidance, somebody to lean on, that kind of thing. But in the big picture, that was the closest. But I've always, 10 years here has been awesome. Never was looking to leave ever, which is different for a coach. I was very content with being in Ames, Iowa, at Iowa State. I loved working for Coach Campbell. I loved the staff. We had a good thing going. And so a lot of different opportunities there for a while, about every year. But I've just been really content with being here. And, I always felt like I would know when the time was right. People say man, I know when I'm, and I think when all of this happened, Coach and I had talked probably a week before all of this went down with the coaching change. And I was kind of just to the point of Coach, he'd even asked me, what are you thinking for next year? You got a COVID year left, all that kind of thing. And, I said, I do, but I don't. And I said, we were going to meet the following Monday, actually. He was meeting with every individual coach, and that was kind of the plan. And we do that every year after the season, before the bowl game. And what are you thinking? Where do you want to be? What do you want to do? Some guys, hey, I want to be a coordinator someday, those conversations. And I just kind of told him that, I think, we're probably getting close to the edge, and then all of a sudden it kind of happened for me. And when all of it happened, I was as excited as I was for Coach and the guys that would be going or possibly have a chance to go. In my own mind, I don't know that I was excited as I used to be. And I guess that was kind of my final sign of enough's enough.
Well, I've admired that about you. Just in the sense of this world of constant movement and this hustle culture of you have to kill yourself to get to the next step.
For sure.
And then I've seen so many of my friends and just people who they get there and then they're just not happy.
Right.
And I would guess too that you've probably had an opportunity to be a head coach again at some point. And you're just I like being a coordinator. I like it here. And you're not constantly, where did that come from?
I think I learned, when I worked with Coach Trussell, he said this back in the 90s, but I don't think I ever listened to it. I heard it. I didn't listen. That who you're with is way more important than where you're at. And I think you're young and you're trying to climb the corporate ladder, the coaching ladder, you don't ever think about who's there. You always think about what it is, the logo, the shiny. I want to coach at Michigan. I want to coach at Ohio State. I want to coach at Iowa State. I want to, I want. And, I think halfway through my career, I was in a rough experience as a coach, as an assistant coach. And I think I went back and worked with people that I really trusted. And I realized at that point in time, man, the grass was greener, but you still got to cut it.
Yeah.
And that point in time, it kind of changed for me. And then when I became a head coach, it was like, man, the people around you are so critical. And that's the thing that matters to me most. And that's kind of when it changed. And I was, who I was with was way more important than where I was at. And, chasing dollars and cents and chasing the logos. And there were some really cool logos. But I was able to share that within guys in recruiting at times. Like, hey, I was recruited too, but the logo was not what I was chasing. It was people, and I found the right people in Ames, Iowa.
Well, I featured you in the defense in the book that I just wrote and just put out. And it's actually Aiden's probably tired of me. Maybe my favorite part to write. Because I mean this. So this in the background, Aiden and Matt gave me this air raid siren as a gift when I published the book, because Mike Leach has always been
for sure
my hero. Not from a football standpoint, though. Right. It's just I look at what him and Hal created.
Right.
It's like a representation on life more than it is. You don't have to do it the exact same way. Right. That everybody tells you to.
Absolutely. And he was one of the pioneers of doing it Mike Leach's way.
Absolutely.
And doing it very well.
And I've kind of, in a stupid way, tried to build my career off of that. Like, we don't, if you watch we're not doing it like how media was 15 years ago. We're locally owned. We're independent. We cut against the grain. It's not always right. I'm not saying we're better than anyone, but that's what he represents to me.
Right.
And thank God it's pretty cool. I've gotten to know Coach Mummy a little bit. And
right.
What a inspirational guy.
Right,
and
for sure.
I love the fact that he's still coaching.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's just grinding. And that air raid thing, man, he's going to push it.
Oh yeah. It's till the end.
You in a weird way represent that defensively for me. And I'll put it this way, because I grew up, really all I cared about was offense as far as like my fandom of football. I never watched a defense.
That's fair. I mean, there's probably 90% of the people listening and watching, and that's the truth.
When I was playing Madden
and head coaches out there, that's probably the truth.
It was when you got in 2017, the whole thing that happened, and we went into real good detail in this book about it. Yep. I hope have you read the chapter?
I did. Yep.
Did I accurately?
Very well. Done very well.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for your help on that too. And Tyson was a big part of that.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Those guys, I just talked to DK, all that staff that was here, Sheed, and we were all kind of in a scenario. And I even say this, talking about that chapter had that chapter not been available, you probably wouldn't be talking to me, and probably our coaches wouldn't have had the success that we had we not changed and those chapters were available.
Well, I completely agree with you.
Yeah.
The switch to did you have a name for the defense?
No, we just called it Bears for whatever reason. It has always been Bears, and I don't know why, but that was kind of the name, the personnel grouping that we gave it.
Okay.
We were in base or we were in Bears.
Well, you guys opened my imagination on defensive football, and I started paying attention to things that I never paid attention to before, and it was great because you would give me insight on it, things to look for. Yeah. Did that kind of revitalize you as far as coaching goes?
Oh, yeah, for sure, because we were learning all the time. We're even still learning, because we always found different things to do, new ways to hide things, new ways to disguise things, better ways to do what we were doing. It was a constant. Every day was new. Every day was new. Even this past season, we'd been in it for 7 years, still brand new. Tyson was at Cincinnati. We would compare ideas and we would watch each other's film. And why are you doing that? Why are you doing something else? And, it has not really, I'm not sure it's even completely done if you were to keep doing it.
I always said this about your defense too, and and I knew this would be the case when Tyson went to Cincinnati, it's often easy for a fan to be frustrated by your defense too, because
for sure
there are aspects of it that are not aesthetically pleasing. Fans want to see blitzing. They want to see, like aggressive, not exactly the design of this.
Right.
It blows my mind though. So like, I'm guarantee you've gotten the emails, get rid of the 3-man front. Like you've heard it. Like, but at the end of every year, the numbers say what the numbers say.
Yeah, correct.
And Iowa State's one of the best rush stopping defenses in the Big 12. It's and anybody who's yelled at Twitter or whatever, I challenge you to just look at the numbers.
Right. Yeah. The numbers are the numbers. The facts are the facts. And it still is, everybody gets caught up in where everybody's lined up. There's still only so many gaps in the D-line. I mean, it's a combination of odd stack of old 50 defense that I grew up in. There's still so many gaps. There's still so many people. And if your guys are in the right gaps, you can cancel them all. Whether you have 4 guys or you have 3 guys, or there's still a way to cancel all the gaps.
Well, that's what you taught me in a really early stages of that. I don't know if it was one of our parties that we had. You guys would come down to, and you and me were, and you told me like, we're filling the gaps. Right. It's just you don't know where it's coming from.
Correct.
We're just not necessarily lining guys up strategically the same way as in the past.
For sure. And again, we get caught up in X's and O's. It's still people. I mean, you think of a guy like Will McDonald. Yeah, NFL, but he was in the same front as we've been in and set record in sacks. Like, it's the game is still made of people. The better your people are, the better your X's and O's are.
Yeah.
Like, I would like to say that, hey, I'm the rocket science. I'm not. The better players we had, the better we had schematically and the statistics and all those things. So that still matters. You still have to have people. This is a people game, played by people, coached by people, and it all has to be the same. But as far as like the numbers and it intrigues me at times. Like, man, you can't stop it doesn't matter how. I mean, you still have 11 people and they have 11, and there's gaps. The thing that has changed in college football today is the number of the dual threat quarterbacks. That's where this league has changed.
Yeah,
that's where you're watching guys that can move their feet. Brock Purdy. I mean, the numbers of plays he makes with his feet. Well, there's nobody in the NFL playing 11-man football. It's always 11 versus 10. And what I say by that is they never have to defend the quarterback. There's no run game with the quarterbacks for the most part. Now, you play Jalen Hurts, you're playing Lamar Jackson. Now they're playing 11-on-11 football, and that's why those guys are having success. Now, how much do you want that guy running the ball, your franchise? That's the concern you have in the NFL. But in college now, what's the difference over the years of 17 to 24 or 25 season? The number of quarterbacks running the football. And so I always felt like it was somewhat an advantage in all of it because you could make it 11-man football. That's what's changed in college football today.
Do you feel like you guys disrupted Big 12 offenses because
sure.
Because you not only did it, but then we saw copycats come in and trying to do what you guys were doing. It wasn't always the same.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you look at Big 12 offenses now compared to in 17, it's vastly different.
Well, for sure. And even this conference was Mike Leach. This air raid, this up-tempo, this fast offense, the offenses in this league disrupted a lot of college football.
Absolutely.
I was sharing with a guy this morning. I don't know what year ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago, was asked to go. Pete Golding was a coordinator at Alabama. They were struggling. The air raid had gotten into the SEC, and they were struggling making the signals and substituting, and it's all documented. And, hey, will you come down and clinic us and Coach Saban on what you guys are doing and how your conference is handling all this stuff? And I went down there and we had changed at that point in time. We were, the offenses, everybody talks about the offense, how they tag everything. Well, defenses were doing the same. You had a 4 or 5 word defense and you were signaling it in. Well, the minute that everybody's going fast in the tempo offenses that you see on TV, you can't get all those words in. So we were basically running defenses with the concept of, hey, I'm going to order a number 1 at and I'm going to get a fry and a burger and a drink. And if I want the chicken sandwich, I'm getting a number 2. And if I want fish, I'm getting 3. And so everything was one word. So we reduced everything to one word in order to get it. So a one-word signal told everybody what to do. Well, fast forward to going down to actually show them or tell them what was happening in our league. 5 hours on the board with Coach Saban and Pete Golding and the Alabama staff. You're explaining to them, we do all that in one call. And that's how we get the call in and all those things. And, it had changed a whole lot of everything. And this conference, offensively and defense, in my opinion, kind of started spreading out. And all of a sudden, hey, they were doing it in the NFL. They're doing it in college. The tempo, it's happening. And so those were some of the experiences where it got to other places. And I think our offenses and Mike Leach and, Lincoln Riley, those guys, it all spread and it started out, going fast in our league. And
do you think it'll come back?
Oh, I don't think it'll ever go away. I think there will always be. You watch on Saturdays, even on Sundays. I've watched more NFL games than I've watched in 10 years in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
There's 3 high safeties in all of those defenses. Whether they play with a 4 down front or not, they're playing with 3 high safeties to disguise. Because again, every quarterback and quarterback coach, the problem with the defense is, it's either 1 high safety or 2 high safety. Well, now we have 3 high. Well, that's not in any manual.
Yeah.
And so it has to get prepared for every week. So it'll always have it'll always show up in spots for sure.
These coaching clinics always fascinate me. And we talked about this in the book too.
Right.
But I remember it was somebody wrote about it, one of the national guys, that Dabo's bringing the Clemson staff to Iowa State and they're going to study the defense.
Right.
And he went down and how does that work in the coaching? Because this is not just an Iowa State thing. This has happened throughout the course.
For sure.
Because it's such a small community and you guys all know each other.
Right.
The sharing of information within the sport.
Well, there are no secrets. I think in the older days, there were some secrets because there wasn't all the video you could get out. There wasn't a podcast. There wasn't.
Yeah, because Leach and Mummy, they would just go and camp out with Lavelle Edwards for 2 weeks.
For sure. And so, but it was between them. There wasn't anybody telling anybody that, hey, Clemson went to, Brent Venables and his whole staff came up here. And, there wasn't all that. And then it wasn't on print. There's places online. You can find our 2017 or 18 playbook, defensive playbook is out there online. Somebody had come into
how the hell did that happen?
Well, somebody came into our facilities and obviously had downloaded it on their computer when we weren't paying attention.
Wow.
Downloaded it and downloaded the whole notebook and got it out there on the internet. And you can still find it out there today, the exact notebook we use. But that never happened before. So, and then everybody looks at it, well, then they all have the answers to how it works. So you don't mind sharing. I think we all share and steal. I think we all do that. Always have. It's just a little more public now.
Yeah.
You try to be careful of, it's uncomfortable if I was working at Iowa State and I was going to go share with Kansas, that doesn't work. But if I was at Iowa State and going to go to Minnesota, yeah, we share ideas because we don't play each other.
How did it work when you guys played Cincinnati and Tyson was there? Because he's one of the inventors of the I'm just saying, how did game prep go that week, both sides?
Well, the thing you have to be concerned of, the signals that you use and all the thing. They studied 10 games and they've studied 2 years, and so do our offense. Mouse and those guys go against it every day. Their offense goes against it. That's an advantage for sure.
So that day, do you spend more time with the offense? Or that week when you're going against Tyson's defense?
No, because they've gone against it in practice every day.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
So
they're
guys,
just more prepared for it.
For sure they are. They're not surprised by what you're doing, and they know the ins and outs and of why you're doing what you're doing and all that. And you're trying to, but again, you still do what you do. It's still people and still people playing at a high level on that day.
That's fascinating. Okay, so hypothetical. You're sitting here with me. You're not at Penn State.
Yeah.
Let's say you're the defensive coordinator at Penn State right now.
Okay.
And you have 100% decision-making power.
Yep.
Would you run this defense there with a higher quality recruit?
Some of it.
Okay.
I would be for, we got to it the last 3 games of the year playing a lot more 4 down and 3 down and kind of mixing and matching, and we moved some people around So I think there are spots for it, for sure, 100%. Because I think there's some real issue. It creates real issues. That's why you're still seeing it on. I mean, you watch on NFL Sunday. If anybody has enough, you can see it. 3 high safeties, even with the 4 down front, and we did some of it. We have done some of it all along.
Because it felt like at the beginning, Iowa State's doing this because of a necessity. We don't have enough good defensive linemen. Mm-hmm. We cannot compete with the athleticism of these spread offenses.
Right. And the reality of it is the ball was being thrown so fast it didn't matter whether you rushed. And that's where like a lot of the general person, that ball is usually being thrown in less than 2 seconds from the time it's snapped to when it's thrown in the air raid for 100%. It already knows where it's going. So the quarterback is taking the ball, stepping and throwing the ball. Well, you can rush 9 guys, and they're not going to get there fast enough in 1001, 1002, the ball's out. And so that's part of why would I, just like now sitting here today, if I'm playing that kind of a team, why am I going to rush 5 guys when
Can't
the ball's,
get there anyways.
No, the ball's going to be gone away. So why wouldn't I put them in coverage? Well, then all of a sudden everybody said, well, you can't stop the run. Well, those teams were trying to run the ball. Well, I mean, documentation, we were first, second, third in a conference of Big 12 in run defense.
Yeah, the 1 year, and I don't know what ended up this year because I just had the year kind of ended so crazily. I haven't even.
Right.
I probably won't review it because it seems irrelevant at this point.
For sure.
But the 1 year and the 9 years that you were not in the top like 3 in rush defense, you were playing like 4th string linebacker. So I gave you a little bit of a
right, because it's still people. Like,
absolutely.
The scheme is still people. Like,
that Kansas game, you're going down there against that team in Arrowhead Stadium.
Right.
I've never seen a team more banged up.
Right. And again, it's still people, played by people, coached by people. But again, some of that stuff was the air raid was get rid of the ball. Like they already knew the original, the same guys were lining up on the same side of the line of scrimmage. Some were to the right, some were to the left, and it didn't matter. And then they just signaled one guy to move. What was going so fast? And at that point in time, like, does it do me any good to rush 4 guys? Why not get the extra guy in coverage? And that's kind of what we did.
If you were an offensive coordinator.
So to answer your question originally, yes, I would run some of that defense for sure, because I think there are some things there aren't answers for.
Jon Heacock, with all of your knowledge, you get hired to be the offensive coordinator right now at Iowa State. Mm-hmm. You can do anything you want. Mm-hmm. What system would you run? What do you think would work?
The first thing I would do is try to find a couple multi-purpose quarterbacks, because without the quarterbacks, why they're getting such a number on the market. Mm-hmm. Just heard a little bit ago they're up to $5 and $6 million for a quarterback in college.
No, wait a minute. There's a salary cap now.
Oh yeah, yeah. Same as the NFL. That's why some of those guys are getting 50 and 60 million. They're getting 5 and 6 in college. But first thing I would have is an athletic quarterback that can move and force you to play 11-on-11 football. That'd be the first and foremost. Having been a head coach, we won the conference championship twice at Youngstown State. It was with the same quarterback as a junior and a senior. Mm. So you have to have a quarterback to have success. I don't care what level, biddy league, junior high, whatever. Better have a quarterback. So the first thing I would do is devise the concept around a quarterback that is multifaceted, that can scramble. And it doesn't mean he has to be a pure runner.
No.
But he's got to be able to, you saw the Indiana quarterback the other day. All of a sudden he's out and about. Well, he can really throw it too. And all of a sudden he pulls the ball down and there's no defenders. So that would be the first thing I would do. The quarterback is the key. And then I would have a multiple offensive spread offense and be able to run the football out of spread, run the ball downhill. I still think gap scheme, power, run game is still hard to defend in offenses today, because everybody wants to play man-to-man, and that's all cool until you're not in one of those gaps and that ball's going, down the seams.
So what is it about my air raid? Because it was invented, it was created to be an equalizer, right? Where it's like we can't get the top 4 or 5 star guys. It's kind of like the triple option, right? In the wishbone.
For sure.
Just in a passing sense, a more modern sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about the pure air raid kept it from ever like a blue blood really adopting it, right? Like where you can go and win a national championship.
But I think there are some. I mean, you see USC doing it. Oklahoma was doing it. I mean, there's still teams out there.
This is true. Oklahoma, I forget about that era.
Yeah.
And they did it really, really well.
Right. I mean, that's, and it's, the thing that has helped offenses this day and age is in the last couple of years, being able to not cut a defensive player, not being able to cut an offensive player has helped offenses and helps, in my opinion, the air raid because their system is all based off the counter. The counter game with the run game. Well, we used to be able to, we would play Oklahoma. Our corners that weighed 180 pounds could go cut the offensive guard at Oklahoma that weighed 320. Well, that's a neutralizer. Now you can't do that on defense. You can cut on offense, but you can't cut on defense. That has allowed that game and that back into that air raid a little bit, in my opinion, do its thing.
Well, it's funny because I talked with Dana Holgerson a little bit about this because he said that Leach and Mummy kicked him out of air raid because he started running too much.
Right, I'm sure.
Because that's where it's like there's like the air raid tendencies and then there's like the pure.
Right. I think like with Coach Riley, Lincoln Riley, when he was at Oklahoma, they were in the air raid, but if they felt like you were just defending the air raid, then the counter gap scheme was always his answer.
You always had a lot of success against them?
Yeah, we did okay against them. They started doing some things the year we played them in the championship. The true speed outside zones were trouble, caused you some issues. But again, it's people. But yeah, we held our own against this. Once we got into this defense, I never feared those teams.
Yeah.
The stopping the run's been harder the last 2 years because you can't cut pullers.
Okay. And then
as silly as that sounds, yeah. And then the quarterbacks,
that's fascinating on the cutting thing. I never thought about that.
No, it's a major factor in my opinion. Coaching offense, the power, the counters, you're seeing a lot more of it. That's why, because everybody got into the zone scheme because they didn't want to run the counters, and guys were blowing up the blockers. Well, you can't blow them up anymore, and so it's a lot easier to run that series against. You can run both now. Whereas some teams used to be just gap scheme and some used to be zone, now they can run both. But it's a problem on defense.
I thought it was tragic that Leach died when he did, because I was just wanting to see how the pure air raid worked in the SEC, and I'll never forget their first game against LSU.
It's like everything else. It would work because he believed in it.
Yeah.
And if you believe in something and that's what you practice all the time, I mean, it works. I mean, it still works. It's just people. There's not as many of them doing it.
Yeah.
So you don't feel it like you used to.
I just feel like the game is so copycat driven and it ebbs and flows.
For
and
sure.
I could see a style of, like, especially now with the NIL thing. Okay, seeing this a lot in basketball, where, like, let's say you have a 16-team conference. This is across the board at every conference. It's not just a Big 12 thing, where the good teams are really good,
right,
and then the bad teams are dropping down a little bit more. And I could see this happening in football. I hope it doesn't. But I could see a lot more of these schools go opposite and be like, what's to keep them, other than recruiting, from we're just going to run the ball like we're going to do what Army and Navy do? I mean, I used to think that before you guys came, Coach.
Well,
I was a proponent. I said, go hire Paul Johnson. Freaking install the wishbone here.
Right.
Like, I thought that for a long time because I didn't think Iowa State could get to the level that you guys got the program to.
The thing that happens with some of that, with the run game, the most valuable guy is the quarterback.
Yeah.
At every level. My son wants to be an NFL quarterback, and you're running the triple. I'm not sending my son to you. Well, he's one of the best players. Well, he's going to go to somebody else we play against. And so in order to get that best quarterback, you're going to probably have to throw the football down the field a little bit. Those are just facts.
If you're trying to not disrespect anybody, trying to think of like a really bad, I won't name. You have the worst job in the Big 10 or the worst job in the Big 12. And you're never going to get that guy anyways. Why not? Why not just either go pure air raid or pure?
Well,
or just, man, we're gonna go triple option. We're gonna burn the clock.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's what you choose to do.
Yeah.
The battle, same thing. When you're playing teams that can score in seconds, but again, you're holding the ball longer, and then again, it's still people. What people can you come get to run that offense?
And the whole reason that the academies do this is because they're churning their roster out all the time.
Right, and it's repetition. Like I coached at West Point, like it's consistent.
I forgot you did that.
It's consistent repetition. So they don't get as much football as Iowa State does.
We don't have as many high schools doing this stuff either anymore, do we? Because I remember growing up when I was calling.
But I think there's a lot of teams that still run the single wing. Delaware wing
There's
tee.
Still some, but not as many, are there?
For sure. Because the answer, again, everything, you go to a clinic, go to a high school clinic.
Because the kids will transfer.
Well, and everybody's playing 7-on-7.
Yeah.
So if everybody's practicing all summer at 7-on-7 leagues, again, it's repetition. So now my kids are coming back, or I take my kids to a 7-on-7. They're not having wing tee tournaments.
I could see
7-on-7 tournaments.
Well, and I could see that now. Let's say that you're here in Ankeny, one of the Ankeny schools,
right, sure.
and you got this iconic wing tee program. Right. You're going to have half your dads pulling their kids out and open enrolling somewhere else because they want to get them a scholarship.
Well, there's more wideouts than there are tight ends. So if I've got 3 wideouts playing and 1 tight end in an 11 personnel offense, well, it would behoove my son to be a tight end or a wideout rather than a tight end because of number, just mere numbers.
Fascinating.
I have to have 6 of those to have 2 deep. I have to have 2 of these to have 2 deep. So the multiplication is 6 to 2 in a 2 deep scenario if it's an 11 personnel
Never
team.
thought about it like that.
So the numbers,
I actually thought one of my favorite NFL players is C.J. Ham for the Vikings.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think he played his last game.
You're a big Vikings fan, right?
Huge Vikings fan.
Fran Tarkington used to be on my bedroom closet door.
I've heard of that guy, yeah. C.J. Ham played for 10 years.
You're being kind there, saying that you heard of him.
He's an icon.
Yeah.
Played for the 10 years as a fullback. Comes out of D2, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think he played in his last game on Sunday. They haven't fully announced his retirement, but he scored a touchdown in it, and it was really cool. He married a woman from Ankeny. Wow. So there's a local tie there. Yeah. But I was thinking about that as he was like the team captain for the day. When will this ever happen again with a fullback? Because fullback used to be a prominent position in football, and now it's kind of a afterthought.
Yeah. We've always, as you've watched us over the last few years, we've always tried to find the fullback out of the tight end group.
Yeah.
I mean, that's who's been the fullback because
that's some really good ones too.
And you find out that's still a problem. 2-back offenses are a problem for defenses. I mean, ask me what I would do as an offense. Yeah, my versatile quarterback, and I would have a guy that is capable of playing fullback to get into 2-backs because I still think that's a problem because nobody fits that anymore. The minute he runs into a gap, there's two gaps instead of 1. And that's not how everybody fits the ball anymore. I mean, how many times do you see 2 backs line up in a backfield? Well, the minute you start doing some of that, then it creates issues for the defense.
How much do the offense and defensive staffs rely on each other? Maybe not just at your time at Iowa State, but just in general. I
think a lot. If you have a good staff, if you're not ego driven, if you have a good staff that wants to win and help each other and figure out how to win, I think it happens a lot. If you're willing to go ask the other guys, what are you doing? I think but you have to be
like, what would you do if you're seeing this on film? Right. Or what would make your life more difficult?
And why do you do that? Why do you put the guy in that gap? And why are you lining him up at 10 yards? And, all the different things. Why do you go to formation into the boundary? Why are you trying to do that? Why are you trying to be an unbalanced? Well, this is what we're looking at when we get into unbalanced. There's only so many schematical changes you can make when we're unbalanced. So we know where you are all the time. Well, okay, cool. So our answer then on defense would be, if that's what you're trying to do, then every time you're in an unbalanced formation, we need to be doing something different. And that's kind of what we developed over the years. Don't ever make your checks the same.
Do you have a favorite win during your career at Iowa State?
All of them are good. anyone you get in this business is good. Probably the two I remember the most. I don't know. It's not fair. I mean, the Oklahoma game down there was incredible win with
Tom Manning passed out after the game.
What had gone on there was incredible with the players. I distinctly remember standing. I was telling somebody this the other day. The TCU game. They were fourth in the country. Came in here at 6-0 or 7-0, and we had beaten them.
That was a hard-nosed win.
Yeah.
13-6 or whatever it was.
So. And they had been scoring gazillion points a game.
Boykin was their quarterback still?
And then the West Virginia game, I remember that one distinctly.
I do too.
I remember the field being rushed, and I remember standing on the sideline and just kind of watching it and just kind of surreal, like, holy smokes, like this really happened, and, all that. Obviously, the losses, even though making the trips to the championship games, I mean, to make two of those, really close in the first one, not close in the second one, but to do that twice was cool.
It like to scheme against Scatterboo?
Well, again, you're scheming against their whole team. The problem with them was they had wide out and a quarterback and a tailback and a tight end. I mean, again, you're getting into those games. It was like the Oklahoma. I mean, you're getting into that game and you're seeing multiple people, and that's what the good teams have. They're not one-dimensional. Scatterboo could run the ball, quarterback could run it and throw it, had wide outs, had a tight end. They create more issues. The more firepower you have, the bigger issue you have.
He just felt generational to me.
Yeah, there's a
bit
reason.
of a throwback type to him.
For sure. I mean, but you think about, you watch on Sunday, I mean, the wideouts and guys that have played in this conference, Jon Robinson, you look at some of the guys that are still out there playing that we played against, some really good players.
You mentioned Robinson. That I thought that game at Texas in 2020, that there were, I don't know if there were bigger wins. I don't know if I should say that. Yeah. There were more memorable wins, I think.
Right.
To me, that was
for sure.
There were two defining wins in the Campbell era. Mm-hmm. The TCU game,
right?
Because the Oklahoma game, we see upsets all the time.
Right, for sure.
Can you back it up? Can you beat Tech the next week, which was, we didn't know that you were going to beat Tech. That was the TCU win. To me, solidified it because you did it with grit and defense, and you didn't play that well offensively, and you just. But that Texas game, I've watched it too many times.
Yeah, great game too.
Oh, just a great football game. But you guys punt with 2:40 left?
Yeah, right.
And
not a lot, not a lot of time.
No 2-minute warning either.
No, there wasn't.
And I'm just I kind of know Matt's tendencies, so I wasn't surprised by it. You stick with what you do until you absolutely have to throw a Hail Mary. And you guys got the stop, and then Sally kicks the game-winning field goal. But to me, that was because I've been around Iowa State a long time, and we've had a lot of big wins here. Mm-hmm. Before you guys, it always kind of felt fluky, though. We just got Oklahoma State.
Right.
There was going all the way back to Marv Seiler in Nebraska in 92.
Right.
But that one, it's we just went toe-to-toe with Texas and didn't have to do anything Texas, fluky at it. Yeah. Got the stop, got the kick. That's the way it's supposed to be done.
Right.
To me, that one might be the most memorable.
No, it was. Rory Walling's stop on the fake. On the fake. There were just things that happened in that game that were
sound.
Yeah, that were just. Yeah, we just played. Our guys played better than their guys played.
So I'm going to let you be the commissioner of college football.
I'd rather be retired.
I don't blame you. What's the first thing you would do just for this sport?
I don't even know where I would start. It's the legalities and all the things. I mean, the thing that happened really, there was a firestorm, in my opinion, in all of it. There was the Alston case. There was the portal that we decided, there was the transfer rule that we decided to change, that you can transfer as many times, do whatever you want, whenever you want. The NIL and portal, all of that all hit at once, and now you're seeing the results of all of those things happening at once. You know, it wasn't like the Alston case happened and, hey, we've got a NIL share, we've got to do all those things. But then we opened up, well, if we're going to do that, we've got to let these kids go wherever they want, because they were trying to appease the players and the student athletes. Like, we've got to give them something. Well, you can go wherever you want, when you want. Well, now you marry all that together, and now we okayed it. Then it was okay for a kid to have an agent in college. So all of that happened all at once.
And some of them, they're not even real agents.
Yeah, that's another.
It's just like your uncle can claim to be your agent.
Well, anybody could. I mean, your dad can be.
Yeah.
And nobody knows whether they're telling the truth.
Yeah.
If I walk into your school, but back to the original thing. No, but back to so now you're getting all the results of all of it happening all at once. And everybody thought, you know, they were all just little pieces, but now you're getting the results of all those little pieces happening at once. The calendar, the portal, the NIL, the dollars and the cents, you know, the Alston case, the rights that the kids have, all of those things. And now you some point in time, but somebody higher up, the Congress, somebody's going to have to say, hey, this is what's going to go on. But again, it's hard for the NCAA to do anything. Every case that they try, I feel bad for them sometimes, because not that I ever feel bad for them, but I do feel bad for them because everybody's mad at them. But every case they've tried to stand for the NCAA, they get beat. And, the kids have, students have all the rights. And I'm great with kids getting paid, whatever, but it's the same thing. Nobody knows. If I walk into you and with my agent or my dad or my cousin or whoever and say, hey, I need this, this, and this. And you can say, well, I'm not doing that. Well, then I'm going to say, okay, cool. Deuces, I'm out. I may go to the next guy and he may say, okay, cool. I need you. I need your, okay, good. Well, then somebody else calls my dad and says, hey, I'm going to give you twice what they're giving you. Well, then hey, I'm getting $1 million from these people when really I might only be getting 500,000. There's no checks and balances in anything that anybody's telling you.
Yeah.
There's just, you hope you have a handle on it. You have some idea.
It's kind of like living in the clouds and you just don't know what's real half the time.
For sure you don't.
Yeah.
And if we act like we do, I think society, us, even me and you, would be shocked at the numbers of what kids are, because it's not going down.
Well, I want to talk about the one of the things I see, because I've really learned over the years that I do this for the fans. Like that. I'm an Iowa State guy. Like sure. I'm not going to be covering the Chicago Bulls in 2 years. Like,
right.
This is where I'm at, and I'll just go sell insurance for Bloom when it's all done.
Right.
One of the things I see, and I understand the reasons behind everything. I understand if I was actually, I was talking with my wife about this, and because I get so much perspective from her. She just loves Iowa State. Mm-hmm. She really doesn't care who the coach is.
Right. Amen.
She doesn't care who the player. Right. But she has this like maternal instinct where she starts to love these kids.
Right.
Because in her mind, they are just kids playing a sport.
Right.
Well, when they all leave at once.
Right.
And like that is bad for the sport. Now, I don't blame any of the young men for making a decision that is better for them.
No.
I don't blame them at all. I'm saying this system, it's not good to have 4,000 kids in the portal every year. It's bad for Washington State. It's bad for Nebraska. It's bad for, because part of what made this great is like you could watch him as a freshman and then, oh man, that young man's a really.
But I still go back to what's good for the kids. Like I understand the I want to make some dollars and cents. I understand that. But when that's gone in 2 or 3 years and you're not playing in the NFL, now what do you have? Like that's the concern that I have. I grew up as a teacher and a coach. What do I have at the end of my 4 or 5 years of bouncing around? And okay, I stockpiled some money, but what am I going to wake up and like? Do I have a college degree? I remember distinctly having to sit hours and hours. If you had a guy that was transferring to your school, now this is back in my day, but not that long ago, man, you had to go through hoops and loops and through rings and fires and everything to get a kid eligible to come transfer, and then he probably had to sit out. I mean, there were a million rules. But that also was protective of the player. You're not going to leave a school unless you're capable of graduating from the next school.
Mm-hmm.
We're not doing much of that anymore. And my concern will be is in 5 years from now, what's happening to these players that aren't going to go play in the NFL. I mean, it's still, they're only taking a 3%, what is it, 1% of college of athletes. Like, they're still only taking a small percent. What's happened to the rest of them that have bounced around? Do they have degrees in 5 years from now? I don't know. I think my concern still becomes what we're doing to the player. I understand they're making their dollars and cents.
Yeah.
But what are we really doing big picture wise to them?
Well, and the other, like this state and University of Iowa is the same way.
Mm-hmm.
If you play for 4 years at Iowa or Iowa State, you're taken care of.
For sure.
For the rest of your life. You can get a job anywhere. People love you. They care about you. They take care of you.
For sure.
If you play for 3 schools in 4 years, you don't have that anywhere.
No. So what do you have?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where, like, to me, like, and what are we teaching them by allowing them to do some of this? And again, it sounds old fuddy-duddy, but I also know that I've coached for 43 years. There's a lot of kids out there that are coming back that's thankful and grateful they got a degree and their families and they got good jobs and all of those things. And it's not to say they won't. I don't know. Maybe in 5 years or 8 years, 10 years from now, they'll be just fine. It concerns me.
The other thing, to play the devil's advocate to this particular conversation, if you're a fringe NFL guy, mm-hmm. but you're a really good college player, mm-hmm. and you're making, I'm just throwing out hypothetical, you made $200,000 last year, and you have 2 years to go, and you just got offered a 2-year deal, because they are doing like multiple year deals now, mm-hmm. I guess, and you just got offered $1.5 million. If I'm dad, it may not be a bad situation either, right? Like, it's this. There's so much nuance in this.
No, because the reality of it, and I've said this, same as you. The other side of that is, well, if my kid goes and gets a job out of college,
yep.
and he's going to make $80,000, maybe. Well, how many years does he have to work to get $80,000 when I'm going to get $3 million in 2 years?
Yeah.
So divide the numbers. Well, then by that point in time, my concern is the degree to go get that job at some point. Is
Absolutely.
that going to be, what are we teaching them, and are they going to be able to fall back on that?
Well, and then
there are still NFL guys coming back and still working.
Yeah.
Not everybody's making $50 million a year.
I had 2 guys, during, and it's been a big story, obviously, with all the Iowa State guys leaving. I mean, 50 of them in the portal or whatever. I had 2 guys who are professional athletes, both mm-hmm. Iowa State graduates, tell me, and they both went through coaching changes, and they were both like, they didn't blame any of the kids for leaving during the transition, because the people who recruited you were gone, like the situation has changed. But they both told me, I'm so glad this rule didn't exist. Amen. Because I didn't have the opportunity to make, because these are guys who both come back now, and are a huge part of the community.
Right. And you hear Coach Saban say it on every Saturday, people creating value for themselves. They stayed at a school for 4 years. Well, now guys are creating value for themselves. And again, you look at our team coming back. Let's talk about Iowa State for just a second. Mm-hmm. There were 30-some guys coming back on that team that had played, started, whatever.
I think 19 starters.
Yeah. So 30-some guys, and you talk about the young kids, that linebackers, for instance, that played a couple years ago that started in half the season. The thing that's happening for kids, they're creating value for themselves. And Coach says it every Saturday on College Game Day. It's just a different concept of value now. Had there only been, let's say there were only 7 seniors coming back on next year's team, and all of those guys were young guys, there would not have been as much value created as there were with those seniors that have played for 2 or 3 years coming back. So your chances of all of those guys moving on would not be as good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the value that you have by being a 2-year starter at Iowa State to everybody in the country just went up.
Mm-hmm.
I'm only a 1-year starter, and I'm not even a senior. Now my value, where is my value at? And I think you're seeing the values of kids. And I think, everybody says, well, all these guys are leaving. Well, A, they can, but B, you had in this class, the numbers were such and the values were such that they created value for themselves. And so they have the opportunity to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
Again, had this class just been maybe 7 seniors coming back and, all maybe young starters, they may not have created as much value for themselves. There's kids going all over, not from here. Well, those guys create a value for themselves, whether it's to Penn State or to Nebraska or wherever. That's what's changed too. Like, you can't just look at, well, all these guys up and left. All those guys got value put on them by the market this day and age.
Yeah.
And so now they have the ability to go to.
So they feel like
else.
if I don't do it, I'm leaving $1 million on the table, or as an example.
Right.
Yeah.
Same as in every business. If everybody were to go, if somebody walks in here today and says, hey, I'm going to give you $1 million, you come do our shows. I don't know, you might look at it. Well, I love Iowa State. I love the fans. Well, for $1 million, no, I love my family more.
Yeah.
And so I think in every business and we all have to make those things. I could have made twice the money I made at Iowa State in almost every opportunity I had. You have to make a choice. Mm-hmm. Is that what you want to do or not do? And as young people, they're going to look at that. And that value got created not by just me. That value got created by DK McDonald and Tyson Veit and Will McDonald.
Absolutely.
And Josh Bailey and Jaquan Bailey and Mike Rose and Jake Hummel and all the guys on offense. And so my value went up because everybody did really good here. And so now I have value. Well, I didn't have all the answers. I was just one guy, but my value went up. And so my stock went up. And so now people were like, hey, you come be our coordinator and you solve all our problems. Well, that's not how it really works. But value gets created by, again, the numbers. And I think no matter what schools you're looking at, Oklahoma State had a ton of guys. Their defense was really good. Like, their defense down the stretch, like, you watch those defensive players play, like, I promise you those guys create a value for themselves. So am I going to stay for a new coach, or am I going to go see what my value's worth? Well, man, it's worth here and here. And so then that's what's going on today.
And some of those guys decided to stay, and they're going to be legends
for sure
because of it. And
for sure.
I always tell I have nieces and nephew, and they're really good young athletes, and tell them all the time, like, whatever choice you make. I had a niece who she's going to go play D3 volleyball. Really proud of her.
Yeah,
nice,
cool.
Really good,
absolutely
great young woman, and good grades.
I'm an old D3 guy.
All right.
Oh yeah.
And she was deciding if she wanted to play that or if she wanted to just go and be a student at Iowa State.
Right.
And I was explaining to her, like, whatever decision you make is going to be the right one.
For sure it is.
Because you're going to make the best of what it.
Absolutely.
And if you go and play D3 volleyball and you don't like it, you know what?
Right.
You're 19.
Right.
Like, you're going to make the right decision. And I feel like that's how a lot of the ones I worry about are the ones who don't have a great home life and a backing to, and the one who, has a Lamborghini as opposed to, having that nest egg to fall back on. And we've seen that in sports. This is not new. It's just the age of the athlete.
And there's no guarantees. Jon Heacock takes the job at Oregon that he gets offered, and I go, there's no guarantee I'm going to have success.
No.
Well, that's true for every player.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the reality of it is there's no guarantee because I signed somewhere else that I'm going to go have success or I'm going to start every snap. So there's risk in it too. Like, everybody's like, and that's what you always try to caution the players about. What's is there anything that's guaranteed? Well, the only thing that is guaranteed now is the dollars and cents, but it's not guaranteeing playing time. Well, if I want to play in the NFL, I better make sure I get on videotape.
Yeah. Actually, I know of a player right now who's currently in the portal, not an Iowa State guy, just a connection I have. And unfortunately, super highly touted out of high school and had a really bad injury and still a really good player, just hasn't been able to put it on tape, is now in the portal and is having a really hard time finding a spot because of exactly what you're talking about.
Well, yeah. There's young kids, there's true freshmen that, where do I go? What do? I don't have videotape,
It's hard to be a freshman right now.
For sure it is. Because does the new staff want you? Does the new staff not want you? Can I go with where do I fit in? Well, I didn't even play.
You haven't really been able to show what you can do.
No, to anyone, to the new coach coming in, to a coach that just left, these guys are so what do? Well, you better find a place that you can get on the field, whatever that is.
How do you put on your professor cap? Okay. Did you know I gave you that nickname a long time ago, the professor?
Yeah. Yeah, my friends send me the stuff that you put out. Yeah, that's how I find out a lot about it. So
the professor. Okay, so one thing I've witnessed in a long time doing this is coaches will often, they kind of like, they get in and they're super fun and positive, and then like the world kind of beats them up and they get jaded, and they often like live in a bubble, right? Because you guys have a really small, it's a hard job. Like you guys make good money. It's fun, but it's hard. Like it's hard when your wife goes to the grocery store and people are snickering, and like it's a difficult job.
Yeah, the kids are the worst. Wives are relatively hard and they're loyal.
Yeah, your children.
The kids are the ones that battle it all. Right.
It's really
because kids are ruthless,
brutal.
Absolutely,
especially when they're at home with fanatics, right? Like for lack of a better term, But like
that's why they're fans.
It's the reality.
Yep.
You've found a way to really stay away from the ego thing. You've been very positive, even when things were. I remember texting you a couple times when you had all the injuries. It's like you're always positive. What advice would you give somebody 30s, 40s who's just kind of in it in life right now? Right, it's a hard time. Like. It doesn't even have to be that. Maybe we got a 15-year-old watching, just to maintain that level of positivity, that mental clarity where you can show up and just be a positive influence on people every day, despite what life throws at you.
Well, first and foremost for me is my faith. Like I am a firm believer, and that's always been the answer. Not always. That's been an answer for me half of my career. So that's first and foremost. I have a great network of people that are faith-based, pastors, speakers, all of those things that are constantly in my ear to give me like, hey, this is bigger than you in a game. Like, so stop yourself. Like, don't get ahead of yourself. You're not bigger than that. It's bigger than you. That's the first thing I would say for me. That's for me. That's what's helped me be that way. I've been fired twice. That's very humbling. Was fired as a coordinator, was basically fired as a head coach. So you become very humbled by that and realize that you are only as good as the people around you. And you need to make sure that all of those people you are respectful to and appreciate, and they will help you. If you help enough other people get what they want, you'll ultimately get what you want. I believe that. So those two scenarios for me, I am faith-based too. I've had some really rough experiences which humble you to the fact of I don't walk on water. I'm not God's gift to coaching. And so then you realize that once you've done that, man, you might as well smile and help people get what they want. And ultimately, then that'll ultimately turn back to you. And it's really what has happened here. And, it is hard. Coaching is hard. I've gotten emails, no matter the professor, win a game, I get I get them after every game. Like, you shouldn't be doing this. You should have done that. And I mean, I don't always respond.
You do respond to some of them?
Yeah, some, because I get it. They're I get it.
Yeah, that's good for you.
But
I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah, but I try to just be realistic, and so I think young people, old people, and again, I think too, the other thing I would say is, man, be thankful. And I made this statement, and I had a couple of people made the statement in my statement of, I do believe that God put me here in Ames, Iowa. Wherever you're at, man, be where you're at.
Yeah.
Enjoy every minute of where you're at. and I'm a coach. We've probably moved 14 times. Been at 11 or 12 different schools. Never ever going to a institution did I ever take a loan longer than 3 years. 3-year arms was all my wife and I ever did. We never joined the church because we figured we'd have to move, and we were always concerned about being real close to the neighbors. Like, I don't want to become real good friends with you because I may be leaving here in 2 or 3 years, whether you're winning or losing. All of a sudden, we're in Ames, Iowa for 10 years, hadn't joined the church, had to refinance our loans, and all of a sudden it's really pretty cool. And we will be joining a church. So, I just think you have to be where you're at. And the biggest problem that I think people get into is comparing. Yeah. Man, comparison's a killer, man.
The thief of joy, I think, is the quote. Oh, my
gosh, it's awful. Like they get, and, because it's easy. Hey, I'm an Iowa State with a guy at Texas Tech. He's donating, they got, man, be thankful and grateful for what you got. Mm-hmm. Man, my car started today.
Yeah. I mean, Paul had the day where it doesn't,
I mean, I started out in this business. I made, you make a lot. I made $1,200 for a whole year, my first year of GA job, and I had to pay for my own school. I started out coaching for $14,000 a year. My wife was a registered nurse, made more money than I ever made every year I coached until probably 2001, when I became the head coach. So be thankful and grateful for where you are and what you have.
It's one of my favorite stories from Leach and Mummy was that their first office at Iowa Wesleyan was in a boiler room. And then they got an upgrade. They went to it was like a trailer park, I think.
Yeah.
They thought they were kings.
I was the head intramural director at Division II school. My first job as a coordinator in West Virginia. I was the defensive coordinator, the only full-time coach, assistant coach. There was a head coach. There was me. I was the intramural coordinator for the entire Division II school, set up all the intramural.
That's a big job.
It's impossible.
Say, how many sports?
I never left the building. Helped with equipment, lined fields, cut grass, and I made $14,000 doing it for 3 years. And met my closest friend there. He and I coached together, Steve, and I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah.
So my humble beginnings probably, and then growing up on a farm,
do what you do.
Oh, and you do it until dark, and then you get up again the next morning and you go do it. And if a neighbor needs help, you go help them, and you do it for free. And I mean, I grew up in a community that helped raise me to what
in Ohio, right?
Yeah, and I'm thankful and grateful to this day that I grew up on a farm and we raised pigs, and we had to do chores before school and after practice at night and in the wintertime, and and then you didn't get paid. You helped the neighbor because that's what you were supposed to do. Mm-hmm. You usually got supper, dinner. If you baled hay all day, that was your pay. Now it was hard for a 14, 13-year-old.
Family business, though.
Yeah, but that's just what they need, your help. Mm-hmm. And then when my mom passed away when I was 15.
Oh, wow.
But when my family needed help, they were all making food and doing all those things. So, I grew up kind of in a humble way, and I'm thankful and grateful to this day that that's how I grew up. Work ethic, treating people the way they should be treated. And I haven't been perfect. Like, no way have I ever been perfect along the way. I've just kind of learned that that's the best way.
I read a great passage last night in a book I'm reading, and it was about creating alliances throughout your life, even when you don't necessarily want to. Mm-hmm. I feel like that is good in today's world too, because you're talking about when you were growing up on the farm. Mm-hmm. Well, I always, it's kind of you're not that old, but Aiden here knows that I love Westerns. Mm-hmm. It's like it's my comfort. Mm-hmm. I'm going to turn on an old Western. I love studying like Native American history. And back then, if you're on the Oregon Trail and you got a problem, like you got a rainstorm coming, right? That's the only thing you knew. How are we going to survive this thing? How are we not going to flood?
Right.
How are we going to avoid the group of cowboys that are? Right. You didn't know what was going on in the Middle East.
Right.
It was just what's in front of you, right?
Correct.
And you would create alliances with, I may not like that guy, but I got to figure it out because we have to survive.
Yep. Amen.
And now we like human beings will hate an entire other group of people who you've never met just because of something you've read on social media that may or may not even be true.
Right.
And is that been a thing for you? I just read this last night, but like not just alliances, but being able to work with people who are different than you.
Yeah, it's, and I've always, again, my dad had a poem in our house, and it's out of it, and I'm going to call it, but I live in a house by the side of the road where all men pass by, men that are good, men that are bad, but those men, they're just the same as you and I. And that's what my dad raised us to be. And my mom, when she was still alive, and that was in our house. Like, that's how you get along with people. Like, and my dad was a superintendent of schools, and the numbers of people that would be in our house and different kinds, and they went to the musics, the concerts, and that was my mom's social life back then. And but you constantly, I don't know how you do it by yourself. Like, this whole thing, you have to have, it's all done by a lot of people. Like, this defense was done by a lot of people, not the professor. A lot of people. Yeah,
but the professor, we got to have a leader.
You do.
We got to have somebody at the front of the classroom.
Yes, sir. You got to have somebody manage it all, for sure. And that's not an easy task. And anybody that's in a managerial role knows that you're dealing with all kinds of people. My biggest job as a defensive coordinator was not the players. It was managing 10 coaches in your room, 8 coaches in your room, young coaches, coaches that wanted your job, coaches that wanted to be.
I think that they're better than you in many cases, I would think.
For sure.
Yeah.
But again, you want those kind of guys in your room. Like, my dad used to always say, like, if you're the smartest guy in the room, you better get in another room. Well,
that's a good quote.
You know what I'm saying? So, if I'm the smartest guy, I want all the guys with more answers than me, so that we can all combine them all and make something.
Your dad said, I always tell people that if somebody claims to know everything about everything, then you should probably just walk away at this point. Like,
right.
Nobody's that smart.
No, nobody's the smartest guy in the room, but you need guys in your room that are really smart. And I've been blessed to have that. I never once claimed to have the answers. I didn't want them. I want everybody else to have some, because that's how you get buy-in.
What did you teach? You said you were a teacher. I didn't know you were
health and physical education. I loved teaching health. I loved it, actually.
What
PE
age
I didn't
group?
love per se, even though it was freshman health.
Okay.
Freshman health. But I loved it. Current events. I mean, you were always talking about real life stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it was consumer health for me. Current events. What's going on? What are you guys getting into? Back in, those were the 80s, like the drugs and marijuana was just starting, like all of it. Man, we used to have those discussions in our room, like, and then, like, kids are growing up. Well, their parents are doing that. So that was kind of a way of life. But I really enjoyed, that was a, like, consumer health for me, like the day-to-day health, not like learning this organ or that organ, which we did.
Yeah.
But the exciting parts for me were listening to kids talk about things that were going on around them that they were trying to sort through in life.
It's amazing.
I had a blast doing that.
It's amazing the impact that a teacher can have on a young person.
Every teacher that I know, man, I text them as often as I can, man, keep fighting the fight, because kids need teachers now more than ever. And, I think sometimes as parents, we used to have parent-teacher conferences. In all fairness, all the A students' parents came.
Yeah.
And I always felt like, and I was just a young kid, I'm like, man, I wish I could talk to so-and-so's parents. I wish they would come, They're
the ones that don't show up, the ones that...
Yeah, and they're the ones that maybe you can help. Like, you can make a difference. And so, no, I relate to teachers. I think what they do is priceless, and I think sometimes, again, social media and all the things have taken over that, put some stress on teachers. And, man, I think I did it for a year, and actually 2 years. And you can make a difference. And if you're out there and you're a teacher listening, man, keep fighting the fight.
Well, to kind of wrap this thing up, so you said you're joining a church. Are you ready to, you're staying? that the plan, or?
That's the plan.
Okay.
That's the plan. I hope we've had a great experience. My wife and I, my daughter got married last year to a guy from Pella, and they live in Prairie City. He's a taxidermist, Klein Taxidermy. I don't know if I can say that
absolutely.
or not. But we'll get
it's my show. You can do it. We'll give him a
we'll give him a little plug out there if you got
Klein.
Yeah,
Kline.
Klyn.
Klyn.
So if you got something out there you need mounted, he does a great job. And,
Down in Prairie City, do they go to the Knoxville? Go to the races at all? You want to go sprint car race with me sometime?
Oh, I definitely want to go. I don't know if they go, but I would definitely.
I'll take you.
Yeah, I definitely would go. You know what I found yesterday cleaning out our house on another subject? Was
Look at this guy. He's cleaning now.
Yeah, well, we're detoxing from 10 years of boxes. I threw out stuff yesterday. I found this is a true story. I sent it to Phil Parker yesterday, and I sent it to Phil. I got a letter when I was a junior in high school from Iowa.
Really?
From one of the assistant coaches in Iowa. So I sent it to Phil. But in that packet, I found I had an old, I was going to send it to Jason. I was a licensed groom in the state of Pennsylvania.
Wow.
That was my summer jobs at the racehorse at the Meadows racetrack
cool.
there. Yeah. So, but yeah, we're planning on staying with her being here. Travel around, try to see some games of some friends, and go to our lake house in the summer and call it good.
Can you be a fan? Like,
I don't know. This is all new. Even like waking up this morning, like I miss the science of like everybody. Like, what do you miss about coaching? I miss the people, but the science of managing that room of egos and mindsets and getting them all to work together and managing the team. The chemistry of that is what I loved. I loved every day waking up, figuring out, okay, how's this piece of the puzzle going to get to that piece? And I did it for 40 years, and that will be the hardest piece for me as well as the relationship.
Wonder if you can't find like a consulting, like where you can still be in the mix just a little bit.
Yeah.
Dip your toes in.
Yeah. And, I love talking about leadership and teamwork and all that. I would love to do that kind of stuff. Because I've had a history of it. I got stories upon stories. And again, you're talking to a guy that, for the years of people at Iowa State, you're really cool, but there's places that I wasn't really cool. So I have those stories too of what that was like and going through that and, why it didn't go really cool.
Well, you got that one picture of you with those big sunglasses on. Speaking of really cool, the picture, you sent it to me. It's the Jon Heacock like meme. We'll see if
that's the one I think Skip put out. Or
it's
whatever.
You just look rad.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was. Yeah,
that was. I mean, that changed your brand. Like I'm a branding guy. Like it. Yeah. That was like.
Nobody. Yeah. Should I tell the real reason? I've said this before. Like I have glasses, so I have to be able to see. Well, in that game, I didn't have my regular glasses, so the only way I could see the script or the call sheet was to wear my sunglasses because they had lenses and bifocal lenses in it. So my coolness was really just out of necessity. So what was really cool to everyone was a necessity for me to be able to see the call sheet.
What game was that? Do you remember? Because it was an impactful one.
It might have been the West Virginia game.
Okay.
It might have been one of those.
It was one that, there it is right there. He's got it up on the screen.
Yeah. But
it was the West Virginia game.
Yeah, I had to be able to see. And everybody was like, oh, he's wearing sunglasses. Nice. That's cool. I hated to break it to him. Like, old coach couldn't read the call sheet. So in order to see the call sheet, you better have some glasses. And I didn't have my other ones. I usually carry them out and put them in the booth. That
makes me so happy.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time.
Yeah, it's awesome. I appreciate you. Thanks for having me.
We'll do it again if you're willing.
Oh, no, I got time. So, I love, again, any way I can help anybody. People have helped me along the way, and I certainly would be able to and like to do it.
You have a great attitude, and I'm sure that this is just the start of something new.
I hope so. Like I said, I want Iowa State to continue to have success. We worked really hard at it, and I'm rooting for them, and I'm rooting for the guys at Penn State. I hope they go knock it out of the ballpark. And I've been blessed by all of those people in this place, and I refuse to be negative about any of it. Refuse it. I'm
selfishly really glad that you're staying because I'm still recruiting you to help me do a little coaching this summer. I was a head baseball coach. I got a bunch of 7-8-year-olds who need some mentoring on the defensive side of the ball. I'll handle the hitting. Just let you handle the.
You sound like a true offensive guy. It's awful.
True story.
I'm going to get you switched around before
here's-
I'm out of here.
I learned this real quick. We have time, don't we, Aiden? You don't have anywhere to go, right?
No, heck no. Why not?
So I've coached 3 teams now. In my first team, all we did was work on defense. Mm-hmm. That's all we did.
Right.
I was obsessed with it. We're going to be the best pitching, fielding, throwing team in the league.
It's a good start.
And we were.
Right.
We were. And we lost every game 3-1, 2-1, because these are still 7-year-olds.
Right. Right.
But we couldn't hit.
Okay.
So the next year, I kind of leveled it out a little bit. And then we're going to work more on hitting. Well, we weren't very good. But then we get hot. We finally, our bats come around.
Which is key to baseball or softball.
And we won like 2 regular season games. And then we win our tournament. We win the championship. Massive upset. Yeah, the Polk County about shut down. It was so surprising to everybody. Third year, so I get cocky. I start to think that I'm a better coach than I am. And I go, we're going to do all offense.
You lost sight of the people.
I did. Players, formations, plays. Not here, not me. I was reading my own headlines. I got guys at the coaching thing saying like I'd never seen a turnaround like that. And I start to believe my own hype.
Yes, sir.
So I say to my assistant, we're not even going to pick up our gloves until the 3rd week. All we're doing is hitting this year. And we're unbelievable. Like we're like 10-0 at one point, okay? And then we completely collapse. We couldn't get an out to save our life. We're the number 1 seed. We're upset in the first round. Well, we lost in the championship, but like it was just this was a good lesson. Like we're talking, your ego gets in the way.
For sure.
I left my principles. I was going for the NIL stuff.
Yep.
It
happens to the best of them.
Yep. I had to learn the hard way.
Yep. It is a hard way to learn. Yep. I used to play fast pitch softball.
Were you the guy who threw it?
Oh yeah, I was a pitcher. Yeah.
That used to be a big thing for men, like middle-aged guys, right?
Oh, for sure. That was the thing.
Yeah.
We had a ball field behind our house, and they held tournaments there every weekend. Men's fast pitch softball league. It was incredible. And I grew up as a young kid, and I grew up in it, and they taught me how to pitch. I love softball
because there's a lot of men who in the last 50 years have taught women how to pitch because that was kind of where it came from.
Oh, for
right?
sure. There wasn't a lot. I mean, slow pitch really back then. Now this would have been in the 70s, so I'm dating myself. But back in the 70s, probably the only slow pitch was a little bit like church league things or rec league stuff. Fast pitch softball was a big deal for men back then, and the middle. Anybody that played baseball. I mean, really good players and pitchers. It was a great sport.
These towns had like traveling teams and stuff, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we traveled all over. Our team traveled all over, and we had teams come in, played in the state tournament and all that, traveled around. I actually found a picture yesterday. I'll send it to you when I get home.
Yeah.
Of me with our team. We were getting ready for the state tournament and a fast pitch softball tournament.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really neat. But that was what was going on. So I love women's fast pitch softball.
Oh, it's the best.
It's the fast sport. I mean, I love it. I
think really good softball and volleyball are tough to beat.
Incredible. Volleyball's, and I really never paid attention. That's not true. I loved volleyball because athletic, and I went to a Division III school, so you went to everybody's sport and you started to watch it and all those kind of things. So that was cool. But when I was at Purdue, watching Purdue and Penn State and some of their facilities kind of right next door to us. And so I would sneak over there and watch some of them. I was like, holy smokes. And so then I watch it all the time.
Yeah. It's a great sport.
Or whenever you can.
That's it. I'm gonna start trying to go to more of those Iowa State ones. They had a really fun team this year.
Yeah, it was great. Chris, I mean, what a great gal. I mean, they've done a great job. But fun to watch. You see the players, the athletes up in our building, sometimes up at dinner time, and just really neat people. So it's great to see them have success.
Well, maybe you get some softball coaching, volleyball coaching.
I can't coach volleyball, but I enjoy watching the athletes.
Hey, we got to keep our options open.
Yeah.
You could be like the sports psychologist or something.
Yeah.
For
I still think part of my old shoulder injuries is from pitching softball and then trying to coach, throwing footballs opposite all the time. So I think my shoulder.
That would make sense, actually.
Yeah, probably.
But to get Dr. Greenwald to see.
Yeah, it's probably part of it. Yeah, that and being a little older.
Well, you look great. Thank you.
I appreciate you having me. It's fun.
Hope you guys enjoyed it. You don't even need a nostalgia when you're listening to Jon Heacock talk. I do love my cotton candy, though. So I want to work in our friends and thank our friends from Barntown Brewing. They make the wonderful THC seltzers, nostalgia, cotton candy. Had me a caramel apple over the weekend. Thanks to them. Pick some of those up this upcoming weekend to enjoy your college football playoff games. But Jon Heacock was just absolutely unbelievable in that hour and a half that we had with him. I hope you guys learned as much as I did. I hope you appreciate Coach and everything. One of my favorite parts of the interview is when he was referencing texting back and forth with Phil Parker, the side of the rivalry that fans don't often get to see. I thought that was really cool. And cheers to Coach Heacock for doing that. CW Pod every week on Iowa Everywhere is presented by our friends at the Lonely Oak Distillery, Steeple Ridge Bourbon over in Earling, Iowa. My name is Chris Williams. Aiden Wyatt produces the show, as always, signing off from the Channel Seed Studios. We'll be back with another CW Pod next week here on Iowa Everywhere.